Welcome students. This is chapter 4 of class 8 science. This metals and non-metals. This chapters belongs from the chemistry portions. Before I have explained the chapters force and pressure. That chapter was from physics. And this chapter, metals and non-metals, belongs from chemistry. Okay. So today I am going to explain what are metals, what are non-metals. Okay. Now before explaining metals and non-metals, let me explain that there are so many substances you will see in your surroundings. From your tip of pen to automobiles, the vehicles, then the crockeries, utensils, furnitures, or many substances you will see surrounding your home environment. But what are they? They are categorized as per their properties, metals and non-metals. And one more category is metalloid. So today, the first of all, the substance are made of elements. What are elements? I am going to explain you. Element is a pure thing, pure matter. What? That it is made up of the same molecule. Suppose I am giving you that one example. If I take a gold, that means if I take a piece of gold, gold is called element. So you will see only, if it is gold, then you will see gold block, all the gold molecules, okay, nothing else. That means purely gold molecules will be in this block of gold. So this block of gold is called element, okay. So substances are made of element. Elements are divided into three parts. First part is metals, second part is non-metals, and third one is metalloid. Metalloid. Okay. So metals, elements divided metals, non-metals, and metalloids. Okay, so these are three parts. So first of all, substance, then elements, then metals, non-metals, then metalloids. These are three. Then one by one, why we have divided this one substance into elements, after that metals, non-metals and metalloids, because as per their properties, chemical properties and physical properties, based on their chemical properties and physical properties, we divided elements into three categories: metals, non-metals and metalloids. Now first of all, I am explaining you the metals. There are whatever the maximum, near about 80% of elements are metals, known elements. 80% whatever still today discovered elements from the natures. So about this 80% elements are metals. So what are metals? Metals. Now I am going to explain what are metals, the properties, metals and non-metals simultaneously, so that you can understand what the difference between metals, non-metals and metalloids. First of all, metals. Metals, they are hard. Metals, I am going to explain the physical properties of metals. So first, now let me metals, okay. First, physical properties. Physical properties. Okay. properties of metal. First of all, let me explain physical that metals are normally solid, hard, and but in normal room temperature. First properties of metals is that normally metals are hard and solid and strong. This is the normal, common property. But there is exception. Exception means that which element, the element is metal but is not hard, not solid, and that is called exception. And that is called the liquid mercury and gallium. Mercury and gallium, these two elements, these two metals in room temperature, they are not solid, they are liquid. Okay, so these two are exceptions. So I am telling the students, whenever I am explaining their properties one by one, there will be some exceptions of the metals. So please, whenever you learn, you will just underline the exceptional elements, exceptional metals, which are metals, though they are metals, but still they don't follow the properties of the metal, normal properties. So these are called exceptions, so you will underline and keep in mind. The first property, metals are strong. Metals are strong and hard at room temperature. Okay, but exception is gallium and mercury, they are liquid. But non-metals, same thing that I am telling the comparisons also you can have. Non-metals, this one metals and non-metals. Okay. Since metals are hard, strong, solid in a normal temperature, at room temperature, just opposite characteristics of the non-metal. Non-metals are not hard, not strong, not solid at room temperature. Maximum non-metals are in gaseous form or liquid. Okay, but bromine is liquid, while oxygen or nitrogen, hydrogen, these are all in gaseous form. And iodine are non-metal, that but since the non-metals in normal temperatures are not hard, not solid, they are maximum in gaseous form, but here iodine is the exception, and bromine, iodine is a hard, solid, and bromine is a liquid. So these two are exceptions for non-metals. So normally what is these are the first properties of the metal and non-metal. Second is malleability. What is called malleability? Malleability means if you take a small piece of metal, suppose it is gold or iron or aluminium, any one thing, then malleability means if you heat it, and if you beaten, then what will happen? This, if it is thickness is this much, suppose this much thickness, if you heat this one and beaten, then it will become a thin sheet. It will become a thin sheet. Okay. Very thin sheets. That means that is the properties of the metals, that if you beat a thick metal, it will become a thin sheet without breaking. This is the second quality. Whereas the non-metals cannot be like that. If you take a non-metal, suppose iodine, bromine, bromine is liquid, iodine if you take, it will just brittle. Brittle means if you heat this one, it will just break into pieces. So that is the difference, where metals you can beat and make it thin sheets, but the non-metals you cannot make a thin sheets by heating or beating. So this was the difference of metals and non-metals. Now next, ductility. So, next quality is ductility. What ductility? Ductility means if you take this much rod of any metal, that means gold, iron, or silver, gold, anything, any metal if you take, then so if you hit this one, so you can make this rod into a very thin wire. This is another quality. Without breaking this rod by heating or by any other process, you can make this one a thin wire. Whereas that this property is not there in the non-metal. You cannot make the non-metal into thin wire. So the properties by which you can make the metals into thin wire, so this property is called the ductility of metal. This is the second property of the metals and non-metals. Now next is lustrity. What is lustrity? Lustrity means brightness. If you take the metals as normally they have the brightness. So for brightness, the metals, that means there is nothing to say that gold, silver, aluminium, whatever else. I had first time, well, this one having too much brightness. Due to this brightness, we can use the metals to make our jewelry. The properties by which the metals having the brightness, so this property is called lustrity. So whereas the non-metals, they don't have this types of lustrity, that means brightness. Normally non-metals are dull. They don't have, they are dull. But metals, they have the lustrity, and non-metals, they are dull. So these are the another property by which you can differentiate metals and non-metals by their physical properties. Physical properties means the outside property, not the inside one. Next property I am going to explain, that is called hardness. I already told that metals are very hard and non-metals are soft and weak. That the property by which a metal is strong, can take the tension too much, that property is called the hardness of the metals. Whereas the non-metals are not that much hard. Maximum non-metals are in gaseous form. So that's why they are not that much hard. They non-metals normally soft and weak. Okay, that's why this is by the properties of hardness we can understand that these are the metals. Now tensile strength. What is tensile strength? Tensile strength of the substance is the resistance to pull. That means the metals are, since they are very strong, so they can easily take the tension, that means too much pressure, load on them. That's why we use the iron bar, iron pillar to construct the heavy bridge, the factory, the many heavy machines with the metals, because they can easily carry they can easily bear, they can easily tolerate the pressure of the load. So these are the physical property of the metals, whereas the non-metal cannot bear that much strength because they are normally weak, soft, so they don't have the strength to carry the load, to bear the pressure. So that's why another property of the metals is the tensile strength, means they are very strong and can bear the pressures. Now the next one is, next day I will explain, next video I will explain the another properties of the metals and non-metals. Okay, thank you.